The Galactic Academy's orientation hall buzzed with the chittering, clicking, and harmonic frequencies of 100 different species. Jasmine sat alone at the back, her small frame dwarfed by the crystalline chairs designed for beings twice her size. At 7 years old, she was the youngest human to ever attend the prestigious institution, and everyone knew it. "Look at the tiny primate," hissed Zix, a Kralian whose serpentine body coiled around 3 seats. His translator rendered his mockery in perfect English. "Does she even understand quantum mechanics? Or did humanity send her as a joke?" Laughter rippled through the amphitheater. The insectoid Chitauri clicked their mandibles in amusement. Even Professor Velcros, a towering Andromedian with 6 eyes, seemed to suppress what might have been a smile. Jasmine's fingers tightened around her datapad. She'd heard it all before, during the selection process. Humanity was the newest species to join the Galactic Collective, barely 2 generations past their first warp drive. They were considered primitive, emotionally volatile, and laughably fragile. The fact that Earth had sent a child to represent them in the youth scholarship program was seen as either desperation or delusion. "I bet she can't even survive in a Type 3 atmosphere," wheezed Gorthak, a methane-breathing sulfurite encased in his environmental suit. "Humans need their precious oxygen like infants need milk." Nutrients. More laughter. Jasmine felt heat rising to her cheeks but kept her expression neutral. Her mother had warned her about this. "Show them what humans are made of," she'd said, not with words but with actions. The classroom door suddenly hissed open with unexpected force, the metal groaning as if something massive had pushed against it. The laughter died instantly. Kevin entered the room. He wasn't much to look at by human standards, a brown and white beagle with floppy ears and soulful eyes. He trotted across the polished floor, tags jingling, completely oblivious to the sudden silence that had fallen over the most advanced minds in the galaxy. Professor Velcross's translator sputtered, What is that creature?" "That's Kevin," Jasmine said quietly, standing up. "My pet." The word pet caused an immediate uproar. The translator system struggled to convey the concept across species that had never domesticated anything, that had either evolved as hive minds or conquered their worlds through pure technological superiority. A pet. Zixter's voice carried a note of confusion that his species' biology shouldn't have been capable of producing. You bonded with a different species, voluntarily." Kevin, meanwhile, had reached Jasmine and sat beside her, tail wagging, completely unconcerned with the dozens of alien eyes fixed upon him. She scratched behind his ears, and he leaned into her hand with pure contentment. "Humans have kept pets for thousands of years," Jasmine explained, her voice growing stronger. "We domesticated wolves into dogs, wild cats into companions, even birds and reptiles. We share our homes with them, our lives. We love them." The word came from Zelenai, a telepathic seraphim whose crystalline form pulsed with confused colors. "You experience pair-bonding emotions with a non-sentient species. Kevin's pretty smart, actually," Jasmine said with a small smile. "Watch this." She pulled a small ball from her bag and tossed it across the room. Kevin bolted after it, his paws scrabbling on the smooth floor, grabbed it in his mouth, and brought it back, dropping it at her feet. His tail wagged furiously, and he looked up at her with absolute adoration. "He does this for enjoyment." Professor Velcross leaned forward, all 6 eyes focused on the small dog. "There's no resource exchange, no survival imperative. He does it because it makes him happy," Jasmine said simply. "And because it makes me happy." The silence that followed was different now. It wasn't mockery or dismissal. It was something closer to, tinged with an emotion that most of these species had never experienced. Wonder at something they couldn't understand. Gorthok's environmental suit whirred as he adjusted his senses. "Impossible. Our studies show that cross-species emotional bonds of this nature require psionic links or genetic engineering. How did humans achieve this naturally?" "We didn't achieve anything," Jasmine said, kneeling to hug Kevin, who immediately covered her face in wet, sloppy kisses. She laughed, the sound bright and genuine in this sterile academic environment. "We just loved them, and over thousands of years, they loved us back. They chose to stay with us, to help us hunt, to guard our homes, to be our friends. We changed each other." Zixter's serpentine form had gone very still. "You altered another species' evolutionary path through nothing but affection." "Through partnership," Jasmine corrected. "Humans don't exist alone. We never have. We bring others along with us: dogs, cats, horses. Even our ships have cats on them for good luck. When we went to space, we brought them to." Professor Velcross made a sound that the translator interpreted as thoughtful. "The psychological implications are staggering. A species that naturally forms cross-species bonds would have unique diplomatic capabilities. They would see alliance building not as strategic necessity but as emotional fulfillment." Kevin chose that moment to yawn widely, showing all his teeth, then circled 3 times before lying down at Jasmine's feet. Within seconds he was snoring softly. "He's sleeping." Zelenia's crystalline form pulsed with fascination. "In an unfamiliar environment, surrounded by potential threats, this creature achieves rest state because of proximity to you. He trusts me," Jasmine said softly. "Completely and absolutely. That's what domestication means. It's not control or domination. It's mutual trust built over millennia. The classroom remained silent for a long moment. Then Professor Velcross spoke, his tone entirely different from before. Miss Jasmine, perhaps you could give us a presentation on human-animal relationships. I believe the collective has severely underestimated Earth's most valuable resource. What resource? Asked CYX, single quotes Thor. The professor's 6 eyes fixed on the small girl and her sleeping dog. The human capacity to turn enemies into family, strangers into friends, and entirely different species into beloved companions. If they can do that with animals, imagine what they might do with us. Jasmine smiled and scratched Kevin's ears as he dreamed, his paws twitching in imaginary pursuit. She didn't say what she was thinking, that humans had already started doing exactly that. After all, she'd brought Kevin to class not as a weapon or a tool, but as a friend. And in a galaxy that ran on logic, strategy, and cold calculation, friendship might just be humanity's greatest strength. Nobody laughed at the little human girl after that.